Good morning, everybody. I'll just start this little video with Sammy Bear because he's still with us, and you can see he's very comfortable there on the sofa. That's where he's parked himself, and he hasn't moved at all. He's sleeping all the time, and he's quite comfortable, and when I do wake him up and stroke him, he's purring. So can't ask for anything more at this point in time. He has his little table in front of him. He's got some spring water, he's got some fresh food, and he's also got some special cat milk. And in that little foil covered dish is freshly cooked chicken that my daughter brought over for him last night. And then down here, look, just down beside the stove, there's a little oil burner, but there's no oil in it, just water. And that's just to keep the atmosphere around him as humid is the right word? Humid as possible, you know, just to help his breathing, so he stays nice and comfortable. I'm just going to see how he goes on because he's comfortable and I don't want to disturb this comfort. So, anyway, that's how things are with Sammy, and, you know, where there's life there's hope, and we'll just keep plodding on. It's a beautiful morning, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful sky up there, very clear, and the birds are singing and everything is very pleasant. So, Sammy's recent illness has reminded me of my own health as well, and I've got to put my hand up here and own up to something. I haven't had any health cover since January of this year. So I've gone online and purchased some health cover this morning. And it's just really a kind of like a backup plan. I see it as a safety net. Now I think I'll go for a little walk up towards the stone circle. So I'm going to have the vet calling later on, do a little home consultation, and see if we can get some kind of a forward plan going for Sammy Bear. Jack! 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 Come here! Come here! I've got to put Jack in the house because... Shh! Shh! It's okay! It's okay, Jack! Jack! Come here! Come on! Over this way! Over this way! I'm going to put him in the house. I'll tell you why. Jack! Come here! Come here! Good boy! Come here! Come! Shh! 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 Come here! I'll tell you in a minute when he quietens down. Come here! Good boy, you're going to go into the house now because there's a reason why things are... Come on, in you go, in you go. That's it. Just put him in the porch. Now, let me put this music back on for Sammy Bear. There we go. Okay. Now, I just heard my neighbour down on the road, and he's obviously moving the sheep because he's got his dog down there and I can hear him calling to the dog. So Jack, of course, sees this as a great excitement. So I'll just leave him to park in the porch. He's a very good guard dog in this way because he's very alert. And that's what you want from a guard dog. Although I don't call him a guard dog. He might actually feel quite proud to be called a guard dog, you know. But of course he is my companion. Well then I suppose a good companion will try his or her best to protect you. So, but he's very alert. I was looking at a photograph. Trying to remember where I've seen it. I think it might have been on Twitter. A very old photograph going back to 2005, I think it was. It may have been 2004. And it shows all this land here. So I was kind of stood over where the polytunnel is now. And it shows all the land after I had strimmed the rushes. And literally strimmed the entire bit of the field. And that was when then I could kind of see the land properly, and I began planting. And I must get that photograph and put it into a blog. So I'll probably write a blog post over the next 24 to 48 hours. Oh, it's so peaceful here in the circle. A lot of little bird activity at the moment. Gosh, look at the lovely mosses growing on one of the standing stones in the circle. Isn't that lovely? How amazing. And then all the lichens growing. See all these kind of like blotches of white paint. Well, that's the lichens beginning to grow on the stone. Well, the lichens and the mosses. But these are beautiful. They look like miniature ferns. Growing all over them. Look at this one. It's got a kind of a fungi as well. No, I think that is a lichen. Growing on the top. So the stones are alive. They're actually alive. They're amazing. Lots of willow to cut back here. I've been putting some of the cut willow through the shredder in the barn, you know, to provide shreddings for the compost toilet. Of course, this is brilliant because then when it all is composted properly in the bins, when I then spread that out on the land about 18 months later, you've got a lot of goodness from the willow in there as well as everything else. So it's not just nitrogen, but there's a lot of other good things in there. This is strange, isn't it? A little bit of flowering still going on. But this is beside one of the ditches where there's water. And of course where there's water there's always a little bit more of an ambient temperature. Now Jack has stopped barking, but I'm not going to let him out just yet, because John has a difficult enough job trying to round up his sheep with his dog. Lots of shrubs to cut back here. You can see where I've done some of the chop and drop. the layers of life. I think that's what the chop and drop represents. Just the layers of life. And still a fair bit more work to do in my lunacy garden. A little bit of tidying up. Not too much, but just mulching the paths a little bit and putting things into order. This is the compost heap. I was digging out lots of compost, you know, for those new little beds that I made against the cottage walls. And the compost is just fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And of course there's little honesty. Well, one of the names for it is honesty. It's actually lunaria. And that's growing on top of the compost heap. So you can see all these seeds coming up, because I did cut back some of the old seed heads and I put them on. And when people say, what's the best time to plant seeds? If you look at how nature does it, like with the lunaria, the seeds have ripened. I then threw the seed heads onto the compost heap, and this is now November. So they have germinated through September, October, November, and those plants will then flower next year because they're biennial. So I'm going to carefully remove some of these and put them into places where I'd like them to flower. Then at the back you see you've got geranium down there. But because this is cold compost, in other words, I don't turn it, I don't encourage it to heat up. I just put lots of different layers on it, and you can see all the layers, including little bits of ash from the fire, and including lots of bits of wood, although just kind of fairly slim bits of wood, you know, like cuttings from the blackcurrant, etc. So there's always a fair bit of air going through it. No particular casing in of it. I mean, there's some tyres at the back there just to hold it in place. A few old bits of wood, which I've shifted along here now, just to get at it. And the cold composting, of course, keeps the integrity of all the seeds. So the trick is not to put too many weeds on there that are seeding, okay, but to put flowers and vegetables on there that have seeded. So you're constantly getting this quite complex and very regenerative compost. And that's how Bealtaine Cottage has got this massive amount of regeneration going on. And it's built up year after year after year. So you won't read too much about regenerative compost. Because of course this is something that I have, I suppose in many ways, just observed and encouraged. Because this is precisely how nature does it. If nature didn't collaborate with the regeneration going on above ground, there would be nothing happening. But there's a massive kind of collaboration process going on all the time, below ground and above ground. And then there's a seasonal regeneration as well. Have a little look in the tunnel. Here we have lots of seeds coming up now. And my little cotton come again. Microgreens. You can see the sun now is getting lower and lower on the sky. So everything seems to be going into a sort of a little rest period. The larch tree now has almost lost all of her needles. And there's another larch over there. See that lovely yellowing tree? Well, the needles turn yellow and they fall. They get new needles each spring. The birds are eating a lot these days. I'll probably have to go and get another sack of peanuts for them. And there's some grasses coming out in the pampas grass up there. And the little mother bay tree, can you see it just in there? Just to the right of the ribes. That little tree is still growing. Birds are very active. I'm going to support these arches, I think, with a little bit of willow, a little bit of twisted willow. Something I was thinking about yesterday. And there's some flowers beginning to come out on the... Oh, you'll have to help me now with the name of this shrub. Can't think of the name of it. Actually, there's lots of little flowers beginning to come out. I have been feeding this. I gave it a good feed of compost about a month and a half ago. So I think that has added to the flowers coming out. And this is the old alder tree that I cut down with the mirror attached to it. So I've just stood it up here beside the buddleia. Put the little angel there on the top. And the top of it looks a bit like a stag's head, doesn't it? Isn't that beautiful? And then yesterday when I was watering some of the plants, I know it's been raining, but there was urine water that I wanted to spread around them. It's okay, Jack, it's just me. I might let him out now in a minute or two, so I can't hear any more from John. So yes, I was watering this, and look at the little, oh, look who's looking through the window there. There's Jack. Look at this. Aren't they lovely? So this is a camellia. There's a few buds on it. I'm hoping to get some flowers on it. And you can see this beautiful clematis has just gone crazy all over the place. There's smoke coming out of the chimney. I have the stove on just to make sure that Sammy Bear is nice and comfortable and warm. Just peep through, yeah, he's fast asleep. I'll go around the back and let Jack back out. So I cleared up all the willow from here. There was a lot of cut willow here, and I've taken it all around to the barn and I have shredded it. There's a lot of leaves here which I might just rake up and put around those plants over there. Just relocate them a little bit. I may cut some of this bamboo back. Little birds. I filled these bird feeders up right to the top yesterday evening. You can see how quickly the little birds are working down through the peanuts. But of course it is essential that we feed them because we've taken so much of their habitat, you know. And as I explained before, there's an agricultural scheme that pays farmers to put bird nesting boxes up, and John has put a lot of bird nesting boxes up on the old ash trees on his land, or the land that he rents. But of course, got to have the food there for them as well. But anyway, I'm quite happy to supply the food. Why not? Mother Earth wants to be abundant, so let's all practice abundance. The little bird's coming back, look to the feeder. And I like to think of the creatures around me being well fed, not being hungry. I think hunger is a terrible thing. Because of course, back in the day, Ireland was just a massive forest. And there was more than enough for the birds. More than enough. So we'll just let Jack back out. Come on, Jack. Come on, good boy. And then I really do have to go and get showered and dressed. Come on. That's it. Now, this is a little arrangement that I've made with some of the rose hips. I put them into a little basket down here. The basket was rather wet. I'm hoping to bring it into the house at some point. Of course, all these gorgeous rose hips here. And that's only because I left the last crop of roses on here. I let them drop their petals and do what it is they want to do, which is turn into rose hips. One of the advantages, and another one of the advantages of not seeking to keep everything ridiculously tidy and controlled. If you work with Mother Earth, you'll get all kinds of beautiful things like that. Little birds in this feeder, look as well. It's got a little red kind of a head on it. on this beautiful day. Gosh, look at that. There's little buds beginning just to form on the beech tree, because this is natural for the beech tree. The little buds for next year begin to form, and they push the leaves off. There's another little feeder around here. Just see it over there on that tree. Now where's it gone? There. Is that it? Yeah. Little bird there, feeding away. No, you'll never guess what I did yesterday. I bought another bird feeder. So I'm going to go in, because I've just remembered, and it's in the basket in the porch. So I'll go in now and get that little bird feeder, fill it up with nuts, and find another little spot to hang it up. So blessings to you all on this beautiful day, on this beautiful morning. And try not to worry too much about Sammy Bear, because he's very comfortable. He's very, very comfortable. He's quite content. He's comfortable. He's at home. Blessings to you all.